I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest.
Well, enough is enough, and it's time for a change.
Finally, The Rock has come back. I hate this idea that you're the best.
And if you're not down with that, we got two words for ya!
I'm the best in the world.
I fight at WrestleMania for the very, very small percentage of people that walk this planet and say I am proud to be, I'm sorry, a professional wrestler.
Oops, I'm breaking the fourth wall.
It's Podcast of the Immortals with your hosts, Matt Bush and Jimmy Bellamy.
All right, welcome to episode 30.
Holy cow.
Of Podcast of the Immortals. I'm Matt Bush.
I'm Jimmy Bellamy.
And this is a very special episode once again.
Yes.
We are about 20 minutes ago, SummerSlam just ended. We're doing a rapid reaction. We do this every single pay-per-view, and holy crap, what a great pay-per-view SummerSlam was.
Yeah, first we want to thank WrestleNews.com for bringing this to you and for being with us, and that's WrestleNews with a Z. WrestleNews.com. Mm-hmm. Follow them at WrestleNews on Twitter. And wow, what a pay-per-view. It was, I'd say it met my expectations, and my expectations were high.
Yeah.
And this is, if memory serves, the fourth really solid consecutive WWE pay-per-view. They've
been very good, and Raw's been great, and it all culminated with everything we were hoping for at SummerSlam. SummerSlam really delivered for the first time in a few years, I think, because SummerSlam traditionally is the second biggest pay-per-view behind WrestleMania, and it kind of slipped to I've talked about how Money in the Bank is my second favorite now, followed by the Royal Rumble, and SummerSlam doesn't even register, but holy cow, did it really deliver tonight.
It was one that we needed. I think as fans, we needed to see that continuation of some of these storylines that have been going, the characters involved, the players, and so many things at work with several of these feuds that everybody's hitting on, I think, what they need to. Mm-hmm. And
all pistons go,
yeah, a lot of fun.
First, I want to talk. Normally we go match by match by match. Screw that. Mm-hmm. I want to jump right into Brock Lesnar versus CM Punk. What I thought was the best match on a night of all good matches. Mm-hmm. Every single match delivered. This one delivered beyond everything that I was hoping for, even.
Yeah, you can't be surprised anytime CM Punk's involved, and really anytime Brock Lesnar's involved. Lesnar had that terrific street fight with John Cena that a lot of people were calling the match of 2012.
At Extreme Rules.
And this one had all of the makings for it, the people involved, and that includes Paul Heyman. Earlier in the night, you had the World Heavyweight Championship match between Alberto Del Rio and Christian, which was an awesome match. But this one blew any of the ones out of the water. And, you get that every time from Punk. You get that A-plus performance. And he brought it. And Lesnar was the perfect pairing. You look at how this feud built up. From the time that Punk dropped his pipe bomb in 2011 to the time that Heyman jumped aboard with Punk, and you've got two guys who are physically, they couldn't be more different. I guess they could, but I could be the guy representing Punk. That would be more of a dramatic difference. But
well, you would fit right in with your chops tonight. I don't know if you follow us on Facebook or Twitter, you got to see pre-show Jimmy Bellamy with the CM Punk Wolverine mutton chops. Just awesome.
Thank you. I'd be lying if I said Punk wasn't an influence with these, but the big part was I was shaving my beard, and I won't waste too much time on this, but I was shaving my beard, and I started with the mustache part, and I shaved it off, and I thought, I kind of like this.
Cody Rhodes shaving off the mustache.
Yeah, R.I.P. Cody's stash, 2012, 2013. Mm-hmm. I shaved off the mustache part, left the rest, and I thought, this, I like the Amish look. We'll keep it for a little bit. So I had that for about a week, and then yesterday I was going to clean up the mustache or lip area and my neck, the lower neck, and I did that, and I just thought there was a perfect, almost like a perfect, I guess, border around the chin part where I thought I could shave this off and get the big chops a la Wolverine and now CM Punk. So it worked out perfect, and I'm glad you like it. I dig it.
I dig it too. I was so pumped to see that when you walked in on for a pay-per-view party. But it was sweet. I mean, it was so physical. Right off the bat, Lesnar comes flying out of the corner, giving them the big shoulder block into the corner. I mean, they had stuff outside. It was turned into a no disqualification match. Not one single hold was barred.
Not a single one.
Not a single one.
It was...
there was no Dairy Queen allowed.
No, and I mean it was a Cold Stone only match.
Yeah,
I thought at least a couple holds would be barred, but nothing.
Not even an armbar.
Brock looked like a bull coming out of the gates.
Oh God!
And it was what we needed to see. I said I said a couple months ago almost that it was going to be fun to watch these two, just because Lesnar was going to be able to throw Punk around like a rag doll.
He did.
Yeah, and it was. Combination, size difference, and the fact that Punk probably said, let's just go balls out. Because that's the only way Punk knows how to do things, and it was beautiful.
And that's a perfect way to have a great Brock Lesnar match. I didn't really enjoy his run with Triple H. I mean, they had some okay, points within matches, but they never had that great match. Like, even Cena did better than Triple H, and the Cena-Lesnar match was awesome, but this one blew it out of the water, in my opinion.
With Triple H, he was best when he was clearly in his prime, but when he was wrestling all the time. Triple H doesn't work for me as a once-in-a-while wrestler if it's a big feud like that, and to have a 3-match feud with Brock Lesnar was 1 or maybe even 2 matches more than it needed to be.
It was a mistake
and clearly it's Triple H or WWE, I think, enhancing Triple H's importance as an in-ring figure. And it's like, all right, it's this guy's show, we'll let him do what he wants to do and just appease him and humor him. To see Lesnar in a match, and you said during the show, during the pay-per-view, that is, it was so fun for you to see Lesnar with an opponent like this. And then we just kind of dreamed up, what if he fought Daniel Bryan? Or, as you said, Dolph Ziggler. I mean, can you imagine?
Dolph Ziggler versus Lesnar.
Ziggler selling all those moves. It would be, I mean, you'd have to check and see if the guy had a pulse.
Yeah, exactly.
By the end of it.
Those are some dream matches and we could definitely see a Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania or something like that. That would be unbelievable.
And as you'll find out, if you don't know already, we'll get into it, but it could be, you could see some kind of Triple H Lesnar alignment where he sicks the beast on Bryan. It could happen.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that was by far, I think, the best wrestled match and the best story told. But it was not alone in quality, and it even kicked off right at the beginning, even before the show started, I should say, with Dean Ambrose taking on RVD in the pre-show. That was a solid match, and RVD, God bless him, he's a little slower than he has been, but he is still putting on quality matches week in and week out.
RVD looks much better than he did a month ago, and I wrote in my predictions on WrestleNews.com yesterday that this had the makings for match of the night. I knew that it wouldn't be, just because you have that Punk Lesnar element, you have Cena Bryan, but it was a match that was going to live up beyond the pre-show building, which almost needs to be changed. They've done a good job, like that expectation. The expectations for the pre-show now have elevated, and before
that Shield match against, did they take on the Usos?
The Usos,
yeah,
at Money in the Bank.
That was one of the better matches of that night as well, and I think they really upped the level of quality for pre-show.
And they definitely have, because prior to that, the pre-show, it was devoted to matches that they had to cut off the card, and it wasn't a spot. It wasn't a spot made for a match. It was just, let's put them on before the show, because a lot of times they wouldn't have matches before the show, or they would have dark matches that the television audience did not get to see.
Like with Daniel Bryan and Sheamus, WrestleMania 27. Yeah, they were cut and they were just put on before the show. But it's a really solid match. The Shield ended up spearing RVD right as RVD looked like he might win the U.S. title off of, or U.S. championship off of Dean Ambrose. So Ambrose gets hit with a loss, but still holds on to the title. So maybe we'll see the feud continue. Although RVD, I don't know if he should be in the U.S. championship mix right now, but it's a good spot for him.
It may have served as a stepping stone for, I think, what's going to be the eventual Mark Henry and Big Show tag team feud with the Shield.
True.
And we've seen the Shield cheat to retain the titles in the past, so it works for them. I think what we'll probably see is that a match coming up will maybe be a no DQ or a DQ equals a title change. They'll throw that stipulation in maybe. I could see Brad Maddox adding that to a match. I don't know how I feel about a Henry Show tag team because it just seems so temporary when you already have some ready-made teams that could compete for the title.
The primetime players.
Primetime players are bound to get a push after Darren Young's announcement, of course, this week that he is gay. And I'm looking forward to seeing the TV reaction, the live audience reaction to the first time he appears, and I think it's gonna be amazing. Oh, I think Mo, you just dropped a bomb.
Oh my God! It smells in here. Oh my God!
Just
Mo the pug just let loose.
And believe me,
the dogs of war.
I know. Matt,
I'm stuffed up. I still have a cold.
Matt and I are not shy. We would claim this, but
oh my God.
this one is lethal.
It's on my tongue. I can taste it.
Be so happy that you do not get this part of the podcast, that the smell does not come through.
My God.
This is potent. I'm proud of him.
I'm not.
I'm very proud of him.
I am not at all.
So we're gonna.
Oh my God.
But just like Dean Ambrose and RVD, we're gonna power through this and fight through this. But I want to see.
Oh my sorry God. It's still here.
Yeah,
it's not going away.
That thing is musty. That is musty. Oh,
and it just like overtook me so slowly. I'm like, what is? And I just point at Mo. And I wasn't going to say anything. Oh, but it is bad.
Wow.
All right, it's starting to waft away.
It's like it almost smells like a solid. Like it's kind of dusty.
You should check his backside or hindquarters because I'm a little worried about him.
Not a good sign for 11 minutes in.
No.
if he keeps this up.
What did you feed this kid?
Dog food.
Dog food. Well, there's your problem.
Iams and Caesars. Okay, so end scene. All right. I just, with the push that the Usos have received, you've got to believe that they're going to get another shot at the tag titles. You've got to believe that the real American...
Mo should take on... clear out the ring.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my God. Okay,
So maybe that's what Mo thought of that match.
Yeah, I guess it was kind of stinky, yeah.
But yeah, great pre-show match. And now I think from now on, with the last two especially pay-per-views, and you can maybe even throw Barrett Miz from WrestleMania in, where you're going to see that pre-show spot be a highlight for some.
Yeah. I'm totally out of it.
Really, dude,
our first match of the actual card was Bray Wyatt in his in-ring debut as Bray Wyatt. Of course, he was Husky Harris before.
Yeah. And if you didn't know that, the crowd will remind you most times. Although I didn't hear it tonight.
No.
The crowd kicked ass.
I've only heard that one time. The crowd, yes, we need to say great job to the LA crowd, the SummerSlam crowd. You were awesome tonight.
Yeah,
Good
a lot
job.
of fun. They were into it the whole time.
Yeah, but Bray Wyatt taking on Kane in the mood lighting match, as I like to call it. They set the table. You know, they had a nice dinner set, it looked like, with the flames coming up. But it was not a Infernal match like I thought it was. It was just a fire match.
Yeah, which is, I think, why they called it a Ring of Fire match as opposed to an Inferno match.
Yeah.
And I did think that maybe they wanted to be, I guess, new or modern, give it a little modern twist by just changing the name. But you're right, the Inferno match, typically, the winner is decided when the other opponent is set on fire. And that was not the case tonight.
Yeah.
The Ring of Fire was just to serve the purpose of keeping outside interferers outside.
I thought it was an okay match. Rowan and Harper ended up using like a fire mat to put out part of a fire and jump into the ring, eventually take out Kane. But Kane was looking pretty strong. Of course, they have to write him off at TV because he's going to film See No Evil 2.
Yep.
What's the character's name again?
Jacob Goodnight.
Jacob Goodnight. Mm-hmm. Well, they put Goodnight to Kane in this match, and
you see that? That's why they pay Matt the big bucks.
Yeah.
It's transitions and segues and things like that.
Yeah. But I mean, to me, it was probably the worst match of the night.
It was in the perfect spot on the card. It was a Kane match, and as much as I do love Kane, I don't look for. I can't think of a match, and I mean, I'm sure he's had one in the 16 years he's been with WWE as Kane, where I've said, "Wow, that was a really great Kane match." It served its purpose.
Okay. Yeah.
The other elements at play were that it was so predictable. With if you knew Kane was going to be gone for a while because of the movie, and you knew that this was Wyatt's debut match, you knew the result, and really, but again, with a lot of WWE matches, the result. Or knowing the result in advance
doesn't hurt it.
And I think one little nugget you could take from this match is at the end of the match, Kane was taken away by the Wyatt family, so they left with him, and that at least provides the potential for some kind of return when he is done. Who knows? Maybe he comes back as an ally of the Wyatt family, which I think would be a nice little wrinkle to the Kane character.
Like, it'd be kind of cool if he was like a cult leader kind of thing, and he recruited. Although CM Punk kind of did that.
He did
years ago.
but I mean, you had it. Steven Richards did it too with Right to Censor, and it's something that they do seem to revisit every few years, which I wouldn't object to. I think it'd be a nice little thing for Kane. He's proven that he's good with groups when it comes to whether he's just aligned with somebody as a tag team or he's put together with the Undertaker for a little while. Yeah. Kane on his own, I think he's past that part of his career where he's this destructive force. He kind of needs other people to help carry him, and vice versa. I think he will do good things for Wyatt as his character develops.
Bray Wyatt goes over. He gives him the rope or the Wyatt plex. We still yet to be
what was it called? The Kiss of Abigail or something
like that. Like I love
Kisses from Abigail. I think is what it was called in NXT.
I love Bray Wyatt's character. He's solid in the ring. If not, I mean, he's not great, but he's solid. The character is going to carry him. That finisher. It's weak to me. Like I love the setup. I like the position looks good. He gives him that little kiss, but it's just like he rolls him. Like I don't understand it. It's like a reverse crossroads.
It's like a poorly executed crossroads, or as I said tonight, the poor man's crossroads. What I think would be better is if he just he had him in that cradle position, kissed him, and then just slammed them straight down. I think would be better. If he just removed his knee and then slammed them straight down. He's just not. He's kind of flabby.
Yeah.
And he looks like he's not strong enough to turn it. And I'll give him this. If he was fighting Rey Mysterio or Evan Bourne or Sin Cara, he could probably pull it off better. Although Sin Cara would probably find a way to botch it. Yeah. But Kane is so much bigger as far as being a tall guy. It looked like it was a little more difficult to do. When he did it to R-Truth, I think it was a little better. Yeah. And I think he even did it to Heath Slater. On main event, maybe.
Yeah, but they said that the key to a great finisher is that you can do it on anyone.
That's true.
And that's what made the stunner so great. That's what makes even the AA that great.
The RKO.
The RKO that great. Because they can hit it on anyone, and you're not limited.
Yeah.
And it can happen at any time.
And using that logic, I stand by this. Go to sleep is not a good move.
It is in certain situations.
But it's hard to sell.
Yeah.
It's not hard to sell. It's hard to make it look believable.
And, even in
he struggles.
Match.
Yeah, and he struggles with bigger guys. He struggled with The Rock during that feud. But I've never been a fan.
Right in the abdomen.
I've never been a fan of that move.
Yeah. Our next match was Cody Rhodes taking on Damian Sandow, a mustache-less Cody Rhodes.
Yes, we noticed that quickly.
We said Cody Rhodes is a good guy now, so he had to lose the mustache.
Yeah, because the mustache is the personification of evil.
It is the go-to facial accessory.
What it reminds me of is when Dolph Ziggler. Do you remember when he cut his hair and went back to his natural color? And Vicky Guerrero goes, introducing the
more serious,
the new, improved whatever Dolph Ziggler. That lasted like a week, and then all of a sudden he went back to bleach blonde,
and somehow he grew his hair out again.
Well, I mean, he grew
so quickly.
He grew it out normally, but he had dyed it right away that it changed it. And that's what this reminds me of. It's like, in this case, we've made Cody a babyface, but he's not really getting over. It didn't help that he was doing heelish things during this feud with Sandow. And Mo, can you stop licking your feet? Is that cool if we stop for a little bit? Hey, Mo. You cool? Going to town on those feet? You good?
All right.
So, that was, I think, maybe WWE saying, look, you can either dye your mustache red, like Eva Marie. No, I think they just said...
That'd be an interesting look.
I think they said, hey, we need you to, we need the fans to get behind you a little better. Shave that mustache so you change your look, because you're reminding people of
that was the only thing that they chanted for. Like, that's the only thing about his character that was over. They don't really care that he's Dusty Rhodes' son or that, whatever. They love the mustache, and now they take it away.
Gold Dust.
Yeah. Our next match of the night. Well, shoot, we didn't even really talk about the match. Cody Rhodes ended up winning a good match. It was a solid match. Nothing spectacular. It wasn't going to be a 5-star match like Lesnar and Punk was, but it was solid, and it did what it needed to do. Rhodes gets the victory, which I think is the right move, and that's about all I have to say about the match.
The finish came at the right time. It was a good back-and-forth match. I think that was the result they needed. We've stressed many times that the Money in the Bank winner can afford some losses.
Yeah.
They usually do go on some kind of losing streak. So a win is what Rhodes needed. I don't think there was a way for him to look good in defeat. So I'm glad he won, and I'm happy that he has a chance now to maybe stake a claim to a World Heavyweight Championship opportunity if and when Sandow cashes in that briefcase.
Yeah, I like their feud. I think it's going to last for a little bit. So we'll see how that goes forward. Our next match of the night was for the World Heavyweight Championship. Alberto Del Rio took on the number one contender, Christian. Christian gets his one more match, and I loved it. I've been loving Alberto Del Rio in this heel role for like his second run as a heel here. I think he's been great, and I think it's the best part of his career so far. He's
been impressive. I've said that how stiff he works, or how stiff he appears to work, I think is a testament to how good he is.
Yeah.
And his matches look absolutely brutal, and I mean it in the good way. I find myself cringing and flinching more during his matches than anyone else.
Those kicks to the face and the head and the neck, and they look legit.
And you have to give kudos to Christian in this too. He had a terrific match, and they work really well together. And I thought Christian would win this match, and I thought Sandow would cash, but I figured this was, as I was making my predictions, I started looking at it from afar, and I'm like, you know what? This is like the perfect world plan, which never really happens.
Yeah.
You know, not everything you want to see happens, and it's never good to start writing what you want to see if you're trying to come up with what will happen. But to me, it made Christian look good, and I mean, Del Rio clearly deserves that title the way he performed tonight. Matt's going to talk for just a second. I'm going to get Mo out of here.
Yeah,
he can lick his feet elsewhere.
He's a little rambunctious tonight. Yeah, Christian has been really, really good since his return from injury. He was out for a long time. I've really liked ADR as well. And ADR looked like Robert De Niro from Raging Bull. It looked like he broke his nose. He looked like he had been in a fight or something.
On SmackDown on Tuesday, Christian beat Damian Sandow in what was a terrific match that I think sets up nicely for if Christian does get his hands on the title. A Damian Sandow cash-in could end up leading to a great feud with those two. But after the match, Del Rio attacked Christian, and Christian got over on him by giving him a kill switch. And I didn't notice anything different from it, but the show cut out pretty quickly after it. And I think Del Rio was probably face down.
Yeah.
And for good reason. I think that's what happened, because the SummerSlam press conference was Tuesday afternoon in Los Angeles, and the SmackDown taping would have been later that night, I think in San Jose.
Yeah, it was in San Jose.
Del Rio looked normal at the press conference. He spoke, at the press conference, and can I say press conference more?
Sure.
And
presser.
Yeah, the presser. Or as we say in the news business, we call them news conferences, not press conferences.
Really?
Yeah, we call them news releases, not press releases. Yeah. At least that's the way we
call
write
it a newser?
No, I call it presser.
Oh, presser, okay.
But I mean, when we
breaking your own standard here.
Our newspaper style, though, is to say news release and news conference when we write it in print. But anyway, that boring detail.
Is that AP?
I don't know if that's AP style. I don't know, because I think they use press conference.
Let's delve into the world of journalism now. No.
Well, it is late. We could fall asleep.
Yeah.
But I think that's how he broke his nose, because he came to the ring with two clearly swollen eyes.
Oh, yeah.
And I knew it. I was like, he broke his nose. He didn't get punched in both eyes.
He looked like Robert De Niro in Raging Bull.
Which I've never seen. Jake LaMotta, is that
Jake
his character?
LaMotta, yeah.
Okay, I've never seen it.
And, I mean, he was just... his whole face... It looked like... You ever play, like, Fight Night or whatever, the boxing game?
The EA Sports.
Yeah, it looks like, he looked like you had just had, like, 2 rounds, and his nose was kind of, like, bloody, and his eyes were all puffy.
He looked like... He looked like Little Mac in Mike Tyson's Punch-Out after getting knocked down 4 times in 2 rounds, where his face was like melting, like he was a melting candle.
Yeah, exactly.
Doc Brown's got his fist shaking there, like, come on, Mac, join the Nintendo Power Club.
You can do it. But even during the match, his nose started to bleed, and it was all over.
And actually, it looked like he re-broke it.
Yeah.
And it was possible with some of the kicks we saw and some of the moves that were done. A great match by these two, and you commented during the pay-per-view, and during that match you said Christian's looked really good. You said it before the match. Christian's looked really good since his return, and I can't tell you how many times on here I've said he doesn't do anything for me. It's inevitable. He's just going to get hurt. He has proven me wrong. He looks fantastic.
Yeah,
and I hope he keeps it up. I don't know where they'll go with this though.
Well, I think he almost had that match multiple times. I think he's going to come out, want his one more match. I don't think he'll get it. I think Cody Rhodes might have a say in that. And then I don't know. I just think Christian's going to be around those 4 guys. The Del Rio, Christian, Sandow, and Rhodes. I think those are the 4 guys going forward who are going to be feuding for a few months. And they all have kind of a rightful claim to say that they deserve, that World Heavyweight Championship shot. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Christian.
Del Rio did something interesting, though, for a mega heel, which is what I'm calling him now. But at the end of the match, and this is in Los Angeles, first before it started, he insisted that Lillian Garcia announce him in Spanish. And then
she struggled with that, by the way.
And she's Spanish though. She's Hispanic. Lillian Garcia. She speaks fluent Spanish. She does it often.
Well, maybe I'm wrong. I was just listening, but it sounded a little.
I think it was pretty good.
A little rusty.
What was good though, JoJo sang the anthem.
Yes.
Not the pop star JoJo.
Is there a pop star JoJo?
Yeah, whose last name is Levesque, just like Triple H. She sang a few. I'll play it for you on YouTube after this.
Did she sing "You Can Look, but You Can't Touch"?
No, right now I can't think of the songs, and it's gonna bother me. It's Get Out. She sang Get Out. Get out right now. It's the end of you and me. That was like her first song when she was like 14 or 15. Now she's like 20, 21. She's an actress and a singer. I don't think she had a feud with her record company or her label for a while, and like her album was delayed by like 3 years, and it came out.
Isn't she on Total Divas now?
No, but actually, funny story. One of my friends, who's a model in New York, he appears opposite her in one of her music videos. I think from like 2.
That story sounded so promising. This model, and then you said he, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, he's a dude. He's from Eveleth. Luke Goldbranson.
Oh, all
good
right.
Dude. Yeah. So, what were you talking about? Which match?
We were talking about JoJo singing,
but prior to
ADR and Christian.
Yeah, ADR said at the end of the win, after his win, he grabbed the mic and said, "I want the people of Mexico to have somebody they can be proud of, and have somebody who's going to let them know that everything's going to be fine or everything's going to be okay."
It was a weird promo,
and I don't know if it's going to start some kind of U.S. versus Mexico thing. I don't know, but
is it going to be like Bret Hart when he was, pro Canada? And I mean,
but it was weird because in in LA in front of this crowd, which had, a number of Hispanic people there. He did get some cheers. So I wonder if that was just kind of a spur of the moment thing by him, maybe the emotion of the moment, or if it's going to lead to something. And it was interesting that I didn't expect Ricardo to show up because they're going to sell these injuries, and I think he's still in the doghouse with that wellness violation.
He's suspended still.
But I'm curious to see if he gets involved at some point.
It'll be interesting, and I'm glad that they're giving him more to do, ADR, because he has improved so much in the ring. If they can give him some better storylines to work with, because they've been lackluster, to say the least, his feuds. But I really think he's got the in-ring talent. He's got the look. He just needs some good feuds, and I think he could definitely make that step back into like WWE Championship form eventually. Our next match was our second. Well, no, was it? No, it was our first Divas match of the night. We had Natalya taking on Brie, along with the Funkadactyls on the outside, and of course Nikki and Ava Marie in. Mo does not want to be away from this podcast. On the outside of the ring there.
He's saying, smell my farts.
You guys, you got to smell this one. But this was, it was a solid match for a Divas match. But the highlight of this match was a crowd. And they were chanting for JBL. They were chanting for
Michael Cole
and King, and then they had a "We Want Ryder" woo 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 chant, and they also had a "We Want Tables" chant, which would have been awesome if Natalya had pulled out a table from underneath or something. But no one saw this one coming. Natalya actually won the match, putting Brie into the sharpshooter. She didn't drop it this time, and the ref, it wasn't botchamania again. Natalya wins with the sharpshooter, and I think this is good. She had that win against AJ Lee. It was on Raw, right?
It was on Raw.
Yeah.
It was in that mixed tag match.
But yeah, so Natalya's looking good. Maybe she'll finally get that shot at the Divas Championship soon.
The best thing about this is that it did not make that Monday match irrelevant.
Yeah.
And for the entire week, I thought, why would they job AJ to Natalya if Natalya is just going to lose to Brie Bella? Mm-hmm. So it was a relief for me to see that, okay, that they're going somewhere with this.
Yeah.
And
Natalya finally getting that push. She was dropping farts like Mo, just a few months ago on SmackDown, just an afterthought.
And she's back. She did fart, didn't she?
Yeah, she literally had a farting gimmick.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it was embarrassing. I felt bad for her. Mm-hmm. But she's back in a big way. I love Natalya. I think she's the best diva in the ring.
She is.
In the WWE, and she deserves it.
And after seeing 3 episodes of Total Divas, I'll watch the 4th one tomorrow, which aired tonight, that she seems like the most likable. It's sincere. She loves wrestling. She grew up in the business. She's
in the Hart dungeon.
She's a Hart family member, and I'm glad to see her get some run.
Yeah.
And I think she's gorgeous too, so that doesn't hurt.
Too. Speaking of gorgeous women, AJ was in the it wasn't the next match, but Lesnar Punk was next, but we already spoke about that.
Yep.
But AJ and Big E Langston took on Dolph Ziggler and Caitlyn, and it was solid. It was pretty much what I expected out of the match. We got Mo licking his paws again.
Mo made his return.
Yeah.
He was barking upstairs, and we can't have that, so we brought him back down.
Yeah. What's up, Mo?
You done licking your feet?
Yeah.
Good.
They're nice and clean, man. You can leave them. All right.
Good boy.
AJ looking gorgeous, as always.
Yes.
As was Caitlyn. Big E. AJ and Caitlyn really went at it in the ring, and AJ kind of had the advantage, didn't she?
She did, and she looked good. She didn't take the loss.
No.
She took a spear, a lackluster spear on the outside.
It was probably the worst spear I've seen those two execute. Because AJ gets speared like 3 times a week on TV, it seems. But Caitlyn took out AJ. Big E had run over Dolph Ziggler. But then Ziggler was able to hit the zigzag to get the win. Pretty good match. It was cool. I'm glad that they're letting Dolph get his kind of vengeance on AJ and on Big E, and maybe now he can move on to bigger and better things. Maybe turn his focus back to Alberto Del Rio, which is what I'm hoping.
If this is a blow-off match, it's a weird way to have a blow-off match when you've got what I thought was a great team with Langston, Ziggler, and AJ. But if you have it end in a mixed tag match, to me that doesn't really work, especially when you have a guy like Ziggler, who's such a good wrestler, and Langston, who has already shown he's a quality performer as well. I feel like they're going to have one more match. Now, 4 weeks from tonight, you have the Night of Champions pay-per-view. Neither of those two is a title holder, so I can't see that being a match on the pay-per-view. And you gotta believe that Ziggler is worthy of being on that pay-per-view as a contender for something. So I'd expect to see a match even tomorrow night, a once-and-for-all Ziggler versus Langston match, with Langston looking good but Ziggler winning.
Yeah, I would like to see that. I wish they had gone with your idea and put the Divas Championship on the line in that match and have Ziggler beat Big E for AJ to lose her title. I think it would have had even more moving parts to it, which I love. I love moving parts, when you can't predict it, which is exactly what happened in our main event between John Cena and Daniel Bryan.
Oh, so you segued right in there. That was very good.
Thanks, man.
This
hold on. The segues don't work if we point them out every single time.
I'll know that for next time.
Yeah.
But that was just so good. I wouldn't have done it justice if I didn't recognize it.
Look at my notes for Daniel Bryan and John Cena.
It just says Cena versus Bryan, holy S.
Yes. Holy S.
S hit.
S hit. And it was an S hit.
It was great, and it lived up to the billing. What I wanted to happen happened, and the coolest part about that though was I was shocked by the finish. Bryan wins with a flying knee to the face that looked like it broke Cena's nose. I think it did.
I think it was a Bryan Plex, is what it's called.
Yep, the Bryan Plex.
The Bryan Plex.
It was the Danielson Plex in the Indies.
Yeah. Exactly. But the Bryan Plex wins him the title. Confetti's raining from the skies. You got fireworks going off. The crowd's, yes, yes. And this crowd was like the most anti-Cena crowd I've seen probably since 2011 Money in the Bank, when a hometown CM Punk defeated Cena for the championship. But this crowd was completely 100% in support of Daniel Bryan. Great moment for him. He wins the title. And what happens?
So we were watching, and we had a group of 10 people. All of us, with the exception of I think one, watch wrestling on a regular basis. And even the other one, Andy's brother Zach, he still, he kind of knows what's going on with some of those wrestlers. But it was nice to watch in this crowd because we all knew the little idiosyncrasies and the things to look out for. And we noticed in the ring, the confetti's coming down, and like you said, the pyro's going off on the ramp to celebrate the championship victory. Cena, right before that, gives him the old handshake. Gives him the handshake, says, great job or whatever he said, and then he leaves. And we noticed right away that Triple H isn't going anywhere. He's staying in the ring, and there were a couple times where he looked like he wanted to attack him, just like he looked like he was going to, but wasn't sure, like he was gun shy. But he kept raising his arm. Then he'd go do the yes, yes, yes. He being Triple H, he'd applaud for him. He'd go to the corner and applaud while Bryan celebrates on the turnbuckles. Yeah. And then Orton's music hits, and you're like, all right, here we go.
Ooh, this going to get good.
But Orton stands out on the ramp, holds up the briefcase like he's going to cash it in. Bryan encourages him to come in, challenges him, and Orton turns around and walks away. So Bryan gets the yes chant going again. And then shortly after that, Orton stops, turns and faces Bryan, and they stare each other down. And lo and behold, Triple H turns Bryan around, pedigrees him. So Orton makes his way into the ring, looks a little, I don't want to say timid, not timid, but cautious. Like, ooh, is Triple H going to do something to me? Hands the briefcase to Triple H. Bell rings. Orton pins Bryan.
1, 2, 3.
Done. Ball game.
One of the shorter reigns for a WWE champion, I'm sure. I loved it. It's unfortunate Daniel Bryan's not going to get a run right away, but he's still going to be in that main event fold. Cena has a claim, of course, because he's going to have his rematch clause, which I don't know if is in effect if the winner, the guy who defeats him. It's
still in effect, and I'm trying to think of a time when someone did it.
Mm-hmm. And I think this rematch clause, they tend to forget it unless it's really important to the storyline.
Because I'm thinking it's SummerSlam 2011. Punk wins the championship match. He retains the championship against Cena.
That was when they both had belts, though.
Yes, that's right. They both had belts. Kevin Nash comes in, beats him up, which is so weird to say. Kevin Nash comes in. Alberto Del Rio cashes in and wins. And Punk beat Del Rio for the title then at, I think, Survivor Series.
That sounds right.
So
and that began his big reign.
But I can't remember if he was taking in... I mean, because that's a long time to wait. I don't think he was taking his rematch clause. I think he had earned it again. I can't remember. So I can't remember another scenario. If you guys want to remind us, feel free, because I'm sure there was one.
Yeah.
But I think it will count. But there's been speculation that Cena will miss some time due to this elbow surgery.
His softball elbow.
That he's supposed to be having. But with Cena, he's always in contention for the title, so they could easily just invoke it and say, he has the chance, he has his rematch, or he could just get a title shot anyway.
Well, Daniel Bryan has a rematch clause now, too.
Yeah, it's true.
And technically, the great one, The Rock, still has his rematch clause. We're not going to see The Rock, of course, but I could see a triple threat match between Orton, Cena, and Daniel Bryan at Night of Champions, and I love it.
I see it, too, and... even with a surgery, I don't see Cena not wrestling 28 days from now.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have the surgery tomorrow or he could have it Tuesday and then he'd be back in time. We've seen him numerous times do that. I mean, he came back quickly from neck surgery.
The guy's a machine.
He is. And I don't think he gets enough credit for his resiliency and his durability. I mean, especially when you've got, this business is just, it's devastating.
Yeah.
And some guys get accused of being soft, and he's a guy who doesn't get enough credit.
Some guys have 19 knee surgeries, 16 wellness violations.
The thing I want to see now is I want Brad Maddox to be a babyface, and I think he will, because he never had a problem with Bryan. He never did. No. He was just doing what he thought Vince wanted him to do. And now, with Triple H as a heel, and I'm going to assume he's aligning himself with Vince, and they're going to say, Randy Orton is our ideal champion, what we want in a WWE champion. Because Vince came out and said, I don't want John Cena to win. Mm-hmm. And now Triple H was overdoing it by siding with Bryan. So you kind of knew he tipped his hand, like, now he's going to do something. Yeah. But it was... They've accomplished, one, it was worth the money, the pay-per-view.
Oh,
two, time. They successfully completed their mission tonight, because I cannot wait
for tomorrow night.
Exactly.
I want to play a little fantasy booking here.
Yes.
Where does it go forward? I have a prediction. I kind of told you about it in the car. I don't want you to say that one.
Okay.
Okay. Where do you see some of these storylines going forward?
Which one?
Let's start with the Triple H heel turn and Randy Orton.
Okay, well, I think Triple H will side with Vince, and I think this is going to catch Stephanie off guard. I don't know if she's going to play a babyface, or if eventually she's just going to go along and all three McMahons are going to be, this evil machine. But I think Stephanie probably will be a protagonist for a while. And she'll be on Bryan's side. Mm-hmm. And I think we're going to have Orton be, I don't want to say Corporation 2.0, but...
Or Evolution.
But Orton's going to be this
a mystery.
Chosen champion. He's an awesome heel. Triple H is so good at being a heel that
one of the best.
That I don't find him believable as a good guy. So can't wait to see this.
What is Triple H's motivating factor? Is it just the corporate champion? Because this seems like Vince versus Austin 2.0.
What Triple H can always play as a card is that he can talk about what he was as a WWE champion, and he could say, I will not allow the title to be disgraced with the likes of Daniel Bryan holding this title that I had X amount of times and representing this company, and we're all about. So I mean, yeah, Vince, I guess, is the one I like size and I like attractions. But I think Triple H could play the, maybe the jealousy card, like you were getting all of this attention and you didn't deserve it. So I mean, that he could play that off. What I'm curious to see now is his tie to Orton. Is it going to be that he's just our preferred looking champion and he's proven in the past? Because I mean, these guys, they had their time in Evolution. They had a falling out. He had
their big feud.
The big feud involving
25.
Stephanie. So where they go with that, I don't know. But it's Ryan Kresge, our dear friend who watched the pay-per-view with us. He said, now this gets Daniel Bryan so mega over because it's going to be him against the big bad machine. Yeah. And I mean, he's proven that he deserves the title because he was able to win it. And they're going to go crazy for him even more.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
So I think we're going to see Brian Orton, and I think Cena will get back in the picture eventually. But I think it seems so funny that 4 months ago we talked about it, but Orton's going to be the next mega star, and I think it's perfect.
I think it's been time. Orton's been great. He hasn't had any wellness violations, kept his nose clean, and I'm excited for his run as champion. It's been long overdue. My fantasy booking, and this is out of left field, but we had talked about the original plans for WrestleMania, starting here at SummerSlam with the Triple H heel turn. And I was curious whether they were going to actually do it. And once they put him in as a referee, I assumed they would. But the original plan was to have Triple H take on a champion for Vince McMahon, because Triple H and Vince would be feuding. Obviously, Vince isn't a fair match for Triple H.
Yeah.
He's an old man. Triple H is up there in age, but he can still go.
Absolutely.
I mean, he beat Brock Lesnar last year.
And Triple H, and we've talked about Rob Van Dam. Triple H, I think, is a better wrestler than Rob Van Dam.
Yeah.
And I mean, that might be preposterous to some, but right now, like this today, Triple H, I can watch a Triple H match and be like, dude still has it. Where RVD, maybe because of the degree of difficulty with his moveset, he doesn't do it justice like he used to. But Triple H could step in, I think, and do like what Shawn Michaels did, where he just took on a regular schedule when no one expected him to do it. I think Triple H could do it.
Triple H can still go, obviously. So it was going to be that feud, and Vince would have a champion, and the original champion for Vince was going to be Stone Cold Steve Austin. Well, I heard that those plans were scrapped. Unfortunately, Stone Cold won't be his champion. I don't know if Stone Cold's going to be there or not. I don't know. I mean, the plans are still moving. But what if, and this is a big what if, that champion for Vince McMahon turns out to be Sean HBK. And it would be so great because obviously Triple H is saying he wants a corporate looking guy, Daniel Bryan with the beard. Well, guess who has a giant, massive Duck Dynasty beard right now? Yeah. And that's HBK.
I didn't want to mention this part because I wanted you to be able to get all that out, but I had said earlier in the night that it makes sense because HBK trained Daniel Bryan.
Yep.
Shawn Michaels was at SummerSlam tonight as part of the, I guess, analyst panel, along with Vicky Guerrero, Booker T, and Josh Matthews. And he said, he thinks Bryan's going to win. Bryan's my guy. So this would work out perfectly. You've got to imagine HBK could be at Raw tomorrow, and he could say, Hunter, why would you do this? Why would you do this?
WTF, bro?
Yeah, exactly.
And what's that about?
And Triple H would be like, you mad, brah? So
he's like, where are you looking at me?
So this is perfect. That, I mean, I don't think that you're going to see HBK accompanying Daniel Bryan to the ring anytime soon or anything, but this could lead to a Triple H HBK match.
And I mean, Triple H even talked about that being his one regret, not having a match with Shawn at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And I think it would be the perfect swan song for maybe both of them. I don't know if Triple H still wants to run, but I mean, if anyone can end Triple H's career in ring, it would be Shawn.
The problem I'm having with this is that I liked the way Michaels left.
Yeah.
And I know in the past he said he felt like if he went back on his promise and went back into the ring, it would be disrespectful to The Undertaker. I don't think The Undertaker gives two shits about it. Like, no. I don't think he's going to be hurt if Michaels goes in. I mean, it's business.
And it's Triple H.
Yeah, and it's Triple H.
If he was taking on Kofi Kingston or something,
yeah.
you know, like, okay, maybe, you know.
Yeah.
But it's Triple H, it's Shawn, they're DX.
I would have a preference to see Austin because I love Austin. I would love to see him fight again.
Yeah.
And it would mean that HBK doesn't have to fight it again. But I think they'll probably go to HBK because it makes more sense, especially because of this. It doesn't look like it's going to be a Vince versus Triple H thing, where if you have HBK versus Triple H, you only need it to be HBK versus Triple H. HBK has his reasons for wanting to fight Hunter. It's the fact that he screwed over his guy, Brian, and that these two are best friends, and they've planted that seed so many times now about HBK saying, look, I don't think you can beat Undertaker. You're done. Your best days are behind you. Where the only reason it would make sense for Austin to inject himself into this feud is if Vince was involved, and he could maybe do it to be against Vince, but certainly not as an ally for Vince anymore, because it looks like McMahon and Triple H are on the same page.
Yeah.
But I can't wait for tomorrow.
The feud writes itself, if they want to do it.
So many great things happen with this, and lost in it, I think, is one of the best parts, and that's we get a heel Randy Orton.
Yeah.
And Randy Orton is just,
and a heel Triple H.
Yeah.
At the same time. Yeah. And it's going to be great.
To see this alliance, it's going to be awesome. And if it leads to something bigger, like a faction, I mean, I might just lose my crap tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, Ric Flair was at SummerSlam Access. Batista? Still.
But I know Batista's filming Guardians of the Galaxy, I think, still. I'm pretty sure that's still being filmed.
Yeah.
But who knows, come WrestleMania time.
You never know.
Yeah.
But that's our fantasy booking. That's SummerSlam. Did you have anything else you wanted to cover that we missed, other than Mo's gaseous?
One quick side was they had a backstage segment in catering with Ryback, and I'm really loving this Ryback character now.
Yeah.
He had an interview on SmackDown where he was wearing just that black leather vest with the red Ryback rules, and he's playing this smart ass bully.
And I liken him to is it Biff
Tannen?
Biff Tannen from Back to the Future, and if he took it a little more ridiculous, he'd be there.
Yeah. And the thing that I like about it more than his, indestructible good guy and also his, I'm bent and pissed off at everybody bad guy, is that he's more believable now. He's having more fun with it. I didn't take him as that, deep breathing, serious guy. So if he can be...
He actually made me laugh.
Yeah, and if he can be this stuck-up bully... He's strong and can destroy people, but then when he does lose a match, you feel good about it. You will feel good. He got his comeuppance. Yeah. But he can be believable as somebody who's maybe going to go out there and cheat and just destroy people and embarrass them in the process. I'm liking it.
Yeah.
And it's nice to know that in a pay-per-view like this, where a lot of guys didn't get, we didn't see Cesaro, we didn't see Swagger, we didn't see Coulter, and we didn't see Kofi Kingston. It was nice that they didn't forget about Ryback and that he will be in the mix, I think, here in the near future.
Also, Miz was a host of SummerSlam. We only saw him twice, though, which was weird. But they set up a feud with him and Fandango, which, has a possibility to be good, but I don't... We'll see.
That's true.
But
I'm glad Fandango was on, and I do like Miz. I think he's got to be a bad guy, though.
Yeah. Bad guy's good.
Yeah, we'll see. But it was a ton of fun, a great time. Can't wait to watch Raw.
Yeah. All right. So that's it for tonight, guys. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Yep.
Bright and early, 10 a.m.
And remember, you can follow us on Twitter at Immortals PCast. Don't forget Wrestle News, and that's at Wrestle News on Twitter, WrestleNews.com with a Z on the good old World Wide Web.
www.
And we are working on fixing our iTunes RSS feed.
Yes,
we've heard from a few of you, and don't worry, it's going to be fixed. We're going to take care of that and make sure that you guys are able to find us. But go to WrestleNews.com and find us there, and we also hope to have the iTunes RSS feed solved in the near future.
Yes. Thanks. Sorry about the technical difficulties in the transition. We will get it fixed. We know you guys. We don't want to leave you guys hanging there. All right. For Immortals, Podcast of the Immortals, I'm Matt Bush.
Jimmy Bellamy.
Peace.